Hey, welcome back to the Butterfly Empire. It is me, your Butterfly Queen. And today's murder mystery is William Clyde Gibson. Southern Indiana serial killer gets second death sentence. Serial killer William Clyde Gibson was condemned Friday to die for the murder of Stephanie Kirk, whose body was buried in his New Albany, Indiana backyard. Gibson gave short, one-word answers to Florida Superior Court Judge Susan Orth's questions and turned in his chair as she detailed the brutal murder, how Kirk died after Gibson put his hands in front of her throat to strangle her according to his own confession. Death was the only appropriate sentence, Orth said in her nearly 30-page sentence order. It was the second death penalty for Gibson, who also was condemned last fall in the murder of family friend Kristen Wittes. Although Gibson can appeal, the sentence came as a relief to members of the Kirk's family in attendance Friday. "I'm just glad it's over," said Tony Kirk, her father. There was a little weight lifted. "I've been waiting 2 years to hear that." Gibson, 56, had pled guilty to killing Kirk after jury selection in the case began, leading Orth to her testimony this month on whether he should be sentenced to die. Kirk's body was found April 2012, just days after police found Witten's mutilated body in his garage. Police said during testimony that Kirk's back had been broken. Both Kirk, 35, and Wittes, 75, were sexually assaulted after they were killed, police said. Gibson also had been sentenced to 65 years in prison after pleading guilty to the 2002 murder of Florida beautician Karen Hodella, whose remains were found in Clarksville along the Ohio River. Orth on Friday set Gibson's initial execution date for Kirk's murder as August 15, 2015. Orth had previously attended execution date of November 26 for Gibson and Wittes' murder, though both dates could change because of the automatic appeals. Death penalty cases go directly to the Indiana Supreme Court for review. Floyd, Kirk, prosecutor Keith Henderson said. In arguing against the second death sentence, defense attorney Patrick Biggs had cited Gibson's history of alcoholism and bipolar disorder in his remorseful confession. But if Gibson was remorseful, the judge did not see it. Henderson said following the sentence, he cited a tattoo Gibson received in prison, Death Row X3, printed in large letters across the back of his head. "We can't make someone be sorry," Henderson said, "but what we can do is hold them accountable, and that's what we did." In total, Gibson pleaded guilty to 3 murders. After his initial arrest, police excavated Gibson's backyard and found the body of Stephanie Kirk, a 34-year-old Charleston woman who had disappeared in 2012. Gibson also admitted killing Karen Hodell of Port Orange, Florida, in 2002. At sentencing, Gibson responded, "I deserve what I'm getting. It ain't no big deal." Gibson was one of a number of death row inmates from Indiana State Prison who appeared in a Trevor McDonald documentary called Death Row 2018, which was aired in the UK in February 2018. Lindsey Van Gorkum represented Gibson during Thursday's hearing, requesting that the court transfer the jurisdictions of the Hardwell case and the reverse post-conviction findings in all 3 cases. She argued that Gibson's trial attorneys had been negligently and fully investigation the effects of the 1991 accident may have had on Gibson's mental state and his subsequent actions. She said Gibson had spoke during the investigation about the wreck and possible mental issues caused by it. An MRI was performed on Gibson in 2013, and 3/4 of the way through the trial of the murder of the Wittes, Van Gorkum said Gibson's attorney failed when they didn't pursue the path and failed to give the information about the MRI to the medical examiner, who testified post-conviction. She said evidence of his potential brain injury was important. It's crucial for the jury to hear. Gibson's attorney had argued during the trial that his mental distress over the death of his mother in the months before had impacted his actions, leading to the deaths of Kirks and Wittes. Van Gorkum also made the case that lead attorney John Biggs, who at the time was chief public defender in Floyd County, had a conflict of interest. Van Gorkum said Biggs' heavy caseload and pressure to minimize expenses kept him from giving Gibbs the time or resources needed to properly defend his case. She said the time constraint kept attorneys from attending regular interviews between police and Gibson, discussions in which he later made confession. Excuse me. In 3 separate cases, Gibson was properly convicted for trapping, murdering, and in one case manipulating 3 helpless women. He said Gibson has set the standard for the worst of the worst, and a reasonable jury or judge would have found the death penalty was only appropriate punishment. He addressed the post-conviction argument that a single mild traumatic brain injury set off a course of events that culminated in a brutal mutilations and murder of 3 women, he said. This constructive narrative has manipulated the issue and does not prove counsel was ineffective. This post-conviction narrative relies on 3 things: a single traumatic brain injury, bipolar disorder, and a history of alcoholism.
Can you tell me what you love about crime? Can you tell me what you wanna know? I can give you what you need. Do you wanna know about the murder? Who died first?
Purchase your tracks today.
I wonder if they're still alive. Do you wanna know what they did first? Now can you tell me? Now can you tell me? How do you feel about this? Is it just what we feel?